Hello, everybody. WeeBrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload. I am excited because we are now on episode 7, so we are getting there in numbers, and I don't know, I'm just glad to be back. Excited. Like I said, we're still in the middle of this December season as we're recording this, and yeah, I'm gonna be excited to share some of the news and some of the stuff we did this week because I feel like we have some good stuff. There's stuff I want to talk about, so. As always, my co-host is here, Legend Jonathan. Say hello, Legend Jonathan.
Yo, what's up, my boys, and girls, and everyone here? Yo, what's up? I'm here. I'm
All right,
excited.
there you go. Easy, easy, easy does it. All right, perfect. So, like I said, we're pretty excited. I think we got some stuff that we want to talk about that we're excited to, share with you guys, that sort of thing. And not only that, but it's just nice being in this December season, getting closer to the holidays. It's always
Oh, let's go.
exciting. So,
I love it.
exactly. There you go.
I love
All right.
Christmas.
So we're gonna let Legend of Jonathan start as usual. So Legend of Jonathan, take it away. Let the people know what you did this week. Go ahead.
Of course, I watched the next day. It's just like it's the same thing each week.
Well, who chooses to always talk about it. No one's
I mean,
forcing you to.
no, but I mean, it's cool too because like each episode, it's a new one. This episode was pretty sad. Well, the second half at least. The first half was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty funny, and something I actually learned because I don't know. I guess it was like something involving Kingdom Hearts, and I like listened to the Japanese audio of one of the characters. I looked up that voice actor's list of roles they did, and he done Light from Death Note. He did the blonde dude from Persona 5, and then he does
Ryuji?
Ryuji, that's what it said. And
Yeah.
not only that, but he does Riku. That dude does Riku, and literally last but not least, at the end of the list, it said he does his voice, Mendo's voice from the remake of Urusei.
Oh, that's
It's
so
always like that.
funny.
No wonder the voice is familiar,
Oh, that's so weird.
especially
Riku
because he was like a
and
kid.
Light and Ryuji have the same voice. That's so weird to think
Yeah, and
about.
then like the
That's
thing she
funny.
was like he's had that voice since he was like a kid, like that deep voice.
Mm.
So it's like, what the heck? Like this dude has always sounded like a grown man since he was like 14, basically.
Dang, that's crazy.
Because all the actors, I think if I remember correctly, they're all the same age as their like English voice actor counterparts.
Mm.
So that's the thing that they all have like the same, they're born within the same year and stuff. So I'm like, dude, can you imagine being like 15, 14 around there, and you just have like this grown man's voice?
That's
And
crazy. It happens. It happens. Yeah.
yeah. And then the first half it had to do like Mendo's mom and like Lum's mom. They meet or some weird thing like that, but then like some rich family stuff happens, and it was like a parent teacher conference. It was like some weird stuff. It was a pretty cool episode. And then it was cool because like Ataru had nothing to do with it. And like at the
Yay, the
end,
main character
yeah,
wasn't there.
yeah, like Ataru's mom was there, and then at the end, she's like, "Get up, we're going home." Blah blah blah. And he looks around and he's looking in the classroom. He's like, "Wait a minute, is this all the screen time I get?" And then he gets cut off.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, and then the second half was pretty sad. Honestly, that's like the part of the episode I feel like people should watch for themselves because it's such an iconic episode as well.
Mm.
And it's really like, yeah, it's pretty sad. Um, so yeah, I watched the episode. It was pretty cool. I liked it. Again, it was better written compared to the original. There was cool because in the second episode, there's a part where I think he's like running because he's looking like like it's something involving him for looking for Lum because some problems happen between the two of them. And it's
Mm.
cool because it shows that he goes to different locations, and those are literally locations that he's been to in the past. Like I think this is the ninth episode, 8 episodes, like the 8 episode, 9 episodes. I forgot to count. That's why. And it shows different scenes from those episodes,
Oh, that's cool. That
so
makes
it's
sense, yeah.
cool. And then yeah, I like that because he explains the stuff in more in depth, and I liked it a lot.
That reminds me
Uh,
real quick. So you said you're on a certain episode, blah blah. We talked about the whole voice actors thing for Riku and Light and whatever in Japanese.
yeah,
I was gonna say, you haven't checked out the English dub at all?
of Ursa,
Yeah.
it doesn't have an English dub.
Oh, it doesn't have one?
No,
I'm
even
surprised.
the original didn't have an English dub.
Yeah, but this one you think it would with it being such a big production, it's obviously something that's very popular. You think there would be
An English
that
dub, yeah.
thing where like, oh, if the sub version is like episode 10, then the dub is on episode like 8 or something 9.
Yeah,
Interesting.
no, I think it has to. It's some weird thing. I don't know. Maybe I have to like pester like the creators or some weird
Yeah, I
thing.
wonder because if it's something that's that big, I feel like these days even some of the anime that aren't even that huge
They get
get
an
dubs
English dub, yeah.
nowadays. Yeah, I wonder if that's gonna
Especially because the
happen.
the movies got dubs too.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe after
The anime is done. Maybe they'll
yeah,
dub
maybe
it.
once like the season or whatever is done,
Hmm.
they might decide because there's some that they do that. Some are do it almost like simultaneous, and I've
Hmm.
seen some that yeah, once the season is over,
They dub over
then they
it.
do a dub. Really interesting because I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you if you had checked out the dub and how it was, but it makes sense there's not one yet, so we'll have to wait to see
Hmm.
what happens with that then. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, continue. Sorry about
Um.
that.
Yeah. Outside of that, talking about anime, I'm about to mention this because this is actually very It was pretty cool because like I like the fact that I got this idea from like my teacher, and then he gave it to me. And since he loves anime a lot, like especially Dragon Ball and older animes, he told me to do this subject for like a project, and I've been working on it like the last week, and I presented it like Tuesday. It was a project like video about how women and minorities are depicted in anime, and
Okay, okay.
I used Dragon Ball and Urusei as like the depictions for like bad depictions.
Okay,
So like
nice.
the original 80s adaptation, I mentioned the stuff about how like there was like random nudity. Some of the characters they would like mischaracterize them by like sexualizing them. With Dragon Ball, I showed all like the racial depictions of
Oh
like,
my God, it was so
dude,
bad.
it's so bad. I remember my whole class I presented to, they all were in shock when when I had the pictures. They were like very shocked that they had that.
Oh my God, it's
And then
crazy.
for like
Yeah,
the
real quick, we're not gonna talk about it because it's not really much of a story, but I know we were talking about off camera that for Dragon Ball, like
the
Super,
recent the
the
recent
manga,
one.
that they haven't really started it up back up yet, but there was like some leaks of some art and it shows that it's focusing on Goten and Trunks or something like that,
Yeah,
and
because
it
this is
shows
like the
them going to
first chapters.
school,
Yeah.
and they're going to school, and it has like some black kids that look like not racist, and people are like, "Oh my God!"
They
Like
look
that's like
normal.
they look normal, they don't look racist, like non-racist Dragon Ball, amazing,
Yeah.
impossible, and it's kind of funny because yeah, what you're saying right now, like, oh my God, especially that original Dragon Ball, 'cause it happened a bit in Z too, I guess here and
But
there.
that was like minor stuff. Yeah.
It wasn't as bad. I think they had fixed a lot of it by then. But yeah, original Dragon Ball. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's so
Hmm.
bad. Like yeah, tell people about because yeah, you told me about this. Tell them about like the panels you showed that your fellow classmates were like, what the hell? Like, tell them about the panels.
Oh, that yeah. Like they were very shocked. Um, they were just very shocked at the pictures, and then it was funny because like I would just put like not memes like involving like the stuff, but like the thumbnail literally had like Mr. Popo on it, and
No,
then
but describe the panels. Like what's in the
like
panels?
like the pictures you mean.
Yeah, like what was in it? Yeah. Just tell people real quick.
Like blackface basically. Like it was like black, but
Yeah.
like some of the characters. There's even one where I think it was like a meme. It literally was like I don't even. That's the thing too. You can't even tell if it's a woman or a man. It was literally a black person. That their hair and their skin of their face was pitch black, and you can't even see the outlines for the hair. It's like it's all one picture, and literally the person literally just looks pitch black with like the red lips and the eyes. It's crazy. And then there's like one where I think it was like during the King Piccolo when he announces to the world that he's the new king or whatever. There's literally a random black man sitting in a tree with tiger cloth, with big lips and brownish skin, and he's just sitting there in the tree watching TV.
Yeah, in a tree.
And then like
The one I
yeah,
wasn't telling you that I remember you showed me because you told me about all this and I you showed me some of the pictures. I meant the one where it's like some it's supposed to be like some tribesmen that they're just like talking about how like
Oh no, that was Doctor Slump. That was Doctor Slump. That's
Oh,
something
it's from
else.
Dr. Slump. That's why. Okay.
Slump. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's still, by Toriyama. But yeah, or it's like, what did they say? Something about how they'll have to like start eating old people. Or, like, what was it?
yeah. And then
They're
like
gonna
the
resort
guy,
to cannibalism, and they're just like the way they're depicted, they're all like savage, and
yeah, like
it's like
Savage because they
really
had like
bad.
the bones for like a helmet and like necklace and like earrings. It's so stupid. Yeah, it was
Yeah, it's
like,
like so bad. I remember I was like, oh my God, damn.
and I literally like I was like honest. I'm like, bro, they like depicted them like bad. Like,
Oh my gosh. So is that what like the
yeah.
whole video was about? Just like about like how bad stuff used to be back then?
And then I try to give more like the good depictions afterwards, like how they've been trying to fix it. Dude, if I had known that they were gonna like, well, if I had remembered too from the superhero movie, because there's a character that she looks like a normal black person too. If I had remembered that, I would have used that as an example as well for like good depictions.
Yeah,
Like
if only your project was due like this week, you
like
could have
by the
shown
end, yeah,
like look at the difference. Look at how these black people look normal and Toriyama didn't draw them
like
like a total racist.
yeah. He's like, I chilled out. He's like,
Oh my God. Because yeah, that would
yeah,
have been a good like difference to be like, hey,
because
look at the difference now.
with Urusei, I use the remake as a good example of how they would like actually depict the characters accurately to like the manga, where some of the characters are very toxic, but like it feels like you can really feel the characters. It feels like more realistic to an extent.
Yeah, they don't feel like
Where
just parodies or like all
or oh
cardboard
my god,
cutouts or whatever.
it's like humor. Like it's literally like the part where yeah, like I mean you watched the first episode where she almost like kills them.
I watched a few more than that, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she got very crazy. And it's like obviously like I don't imagine anyone just like having a spaceship and just crashing into the earth. But like there is people that really do go to the extreme where, oh my God, like you're flirting with my man, like I'm gonna want to kill you type of situation. And it's just very like
Yeah,
yeah.
it's one of those things where a lot of like the harem anime, they'll just try to get away with all sorts of really over the top where it's like, why would like any of these people want to be around each other if like the guy really is like that pervy supposedly, or if like the girls really are this violent, like why would
Yeah.
anybody want to be around each other? You know what I mean?
And that's
Like,
the thing. It's like you can tell that anime really does that, really did that. And then my friend Quay, she was happy because in the newest one, in the second half, there's a part where Taro's parents are even like, "Yeah, Taro, you don't like deserve love or something like
oh,
that."
I actually call him out. That's pretty
Yeah, and then
funny.
Quay's just like, "Finally!"
Yeah, because a lot of times I'm saying they make it so like
Like they make it sound like, "Oh, the guy's so lucky," and
yeah,
like,
like so what do you call it? Like power fantasy, whatever we call it, where
yeah,
like the guy can do no wrong and all the girls want him. Like it's like even though he's just
like
like
here, like everyone knows that he's like a gross kid and like a
that's
lazy
actually pretty
ass and stuff,
funny.
and everyone's just like, "Dude, why do you like have this like girl that actually cares about you?" Like,
That's
come
actually
on.
pretty funny. That's funny that they call him out.
And
Nice.
then the last thing I did was I watched episode one of Sonic Prime.
Yeah, I actually watched all of it.
You
So
watched all of it,
yeah,
yeah.
I watched all of it.
I the only reason was because
You're busy with your project.
no it won't but that was actually earlier, but it was because there was stuff involving um how do I say it? It was stuff involving like the fact that it was really late by that point, and so by the time I actually watched the episode, like
Oh well, yeah,
it
it
was
makes
pretty
sense.
late, yeah.
It makes sense as we're recording this. It just came out not too long ago, so it makes sense. It's not like you've had all week to watch it. It like just came out a little
Yeah,
bit. Okay. Then
yeah,
cool. Then if you're done with your thing, well, we can. I don't
yeah.
know if
I'm
you want
done.
to transition to me because I
Yeah,
watched the whole thing, so I can kind of talk about it a little bit more. I'll try not to spoil it though.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. So, and this is like the only thing I did this week too of note. So that's why, I kind of want to talk about it a little bit more because, yeah, I've also been busy, as I said. I'm just trying to, wrap things up because like the holiday season, stuff at work and blah, 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 getting ready for like the end
That's
of
what I'm
the,
trying to do too for
yeah,
school.
and
Yeah.
then the new year, this and that, and also starting new series and stuff, that sort of thing. But anyway, so yes, so I watched Sonic Prime and I watched all 8 episodes. That is what's out for the first season. And I wanted to say that I really, really liked it. I thought it was
Yeah.
really good. For anyone who doesn't know, basically this iteration is that Sonic, I guess, and his friends, they live in I
Green
guess they
Hills.
basically live in Green Hill Zone. I don't know if it's supposed to have a name, this world, but the point is they live like in Green Hill Zone, and it shows that they're Sonic's running around You know, the areas you would notice, like the loop loop and stuff, like it's in the background, and he's collecting coins, and it shows there's a part where there's a lot. You know how in the game Green Hills
You
there's a
mean
lot of
rings?
yeah, sorry. You know how there's a lot of like palm trees and stuff everywhere.
Mhm.
It even shows them like chilling near palm trees. They talk about that a bit and stuff.
Yeah, and then he attacks like robots and the flickies come out.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, I was gonna get to that. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so they live in Green Hill Zone, and it's interesting because usually you know how it's like maybe like Sonic and Tails and maybe Knuckles, and like usually Amy takes like a big back seat, and that's it. Here it's
Mhm.
interesting because it's like a core team of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Rouge. That's the one thing really weird that when people saw it, they're like, "Oh, that's so crazy! She's gonna be part of the team." For some reason, Rouge is like a big part of the team. She's like part of like the of his friend group, and basically the whole point is that it kind of shows like that there's this part where he's fighting Eggman, and there's this like crystal called the Paradox Prism that
Mhm.
he accidentally shatters it, and that sends him into a parallel dimension. And basically, the way it works is that it kind of jumps back and forth between before they shatter the prism and like afterwards, it'll jump back and forth a bit. And basically, what it shows from the before times is that I can say that Sonic didn't really like appreciate his friends. He kind of took them for granted because even though they had to like fight Eggman and stuff, he's always like, "Oh, you know, I'll catch up. You guys go." And he's like doing his own thing. And there's parts later too. I don't want to spoil it, but they kind of show that he kind of took him for granted a little bit. You know, he kind of may could
He's
have
kind of dumb
appreciated.
too.
He could have appreciated them a bit more. You know, he's kind of a bit silly, a little bit juvenile. But regardless, the point is, you know, they're fighting Eggman, accidentally shatters that paradox prism, and it sends him to a parallel universe. And in this parallel universe, there's actually a few of them. Once again, kind of minor spoilers. There's different, you know, parallel universes, but the main one that he kind of keeps going back to, it's called because it's like New York City, but what's it called? New what? Let me
New
see.
Yoke.
Yeah, New Yoke. That's I can't remember what it's called. It's called New Yoke City, and it's a parallel universe where Sonic never existed, and where Eggman and like this like army of like other egg guys, I guess there's like different. It's like a whole council of them. They basically control the world. So this
Hmm.
is kind of like the Sat AM cartoon where it's about you know like
Like
the
a dystopia.
animals. It's a dystopia, and they're kind of like a resistance against you know Eggman. And so anyway, so Sonic ends up in this parallel universe, and it's really interesting because Tails, basically, since Sonic wasn't there, you know, to protect him from bullies and be his friend. So Tails is this like loner inventor that calls himself Nine because he has nine metal tails.
Hmm.
And then I guess I'm not really too sure what happened to Amy, but what we can kind of piece together is that Amy, I guess since Sonic wasn't there to save her, back in Sonic CD, you know, her first appearance when she was still like a kid. I guess the Eggman captured her and experiments on her, and so she's like a cyborg that's under their control. She's like their servant, and her name is Rusty Rose instead of Amy Rose, and she's like this crazy cyborg. And then Knuckles and Rouge, they are from the original Green Hill Zone before Eggman and his people came in and like destroyed it. Like that's where they're like trying to fight back because they remember like their homeland, and they're called Rebel Rouge and Renegade Nux, which is kind of funny. And so basically, Rebel Rouge and Renegade Nux, they're like the faces of the resistance, and they're the ones who are trying to fight back against Eggman, but they've had trouble. And when Sonic shows up, they basically recruit his help to help them fight back against Eggman because they feel like, oh, he's fast, he seems to like know some things, you know, he's powerful. And so it's all about, you know, Sonic trying to help his friends in this, you know, dystopia to fight back against Eggman. More stuff does happen. I don't want to, you know, spoil it too much, but it does involve going to other parallel universes. And the only thing I want to say, you know, not to spoil too much, is that I think the characterization is really good. I like how it really does show the relationship between Sonic and all his friends.
Hmm.
Like Boom was really fun. It was really funny, but there wasn't any really like real friendship between any of the characters. It's just like they were all kind of just there with each
It was like
other.
comedy, basically. Yeah.
And here it's kind of nice where you get that moment of like, oh, you know, because Sonic wasn't there for, you know, Tails and what happened to him. And he talks about, you know, missing Amy because she's like this robot. And when he sees them in parallel universes, like what they're doing, same thing. He's trying to, kind of bond with them because he remembers the friends he left behind, that sort of thing. So it's really fun. I think they did a really good job with the characterization. I like the voices. They're a bit different, but I still think they're pretty good. I think it's something it doesn't take too long to get used to, honestly. I think the voices are pretty good. I love the whole parallel universes thing. I think that it works pretty well from what I saw. I'm not gonna like spoil the names.
I feel like Sonic, like parallel universes work well with that game, like series.
Yeah, it really does, huh? Like I felt so
because
natural,
of the
honestly.
time travel, because of the time travel and whatnot.
Yeah, it works really well, honestly. And seeing the characters act different, it's just really fun. And honestly, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I love how in every different universe they have different names.
That's
They
pretty
never
cool.
keep the same names. It's not like they're always Knuckles, always Tails. It's like no,
it makes sense.
yeah, they have different names in each universe, which I think is really fun. Like keep an eye out for like the names they have and like the different costumes and stuff. So I don't know. I just thought it was like really well animated, very creative with like the different environments and names and parallel universes and outfits and stuff. I like the characterization of Sonic, and his friends. They feel like an actual team, and like he's actually like trying to get his friends back. I thought that was really nice. And like I said, I thought the voice acting was pretty good. Like even though might take a little bit getting used to because the voices are a bit different. I like it. I think everyone's like brought their A game. I think they're really good.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it was only 8 episodes. It kind of sucks because they go by really quick. Like the first episode is like a double episode because it's like the intro, so it's like 45 minutes. But then every episode after that's like 20 minutes. It's only 8 episodes, but I'm excited. It definitely ends off like where you're hoping there's going to be more. And yeah, if you check it on Wikipedia, it says second and third seasons have not been officially like announced when they'll come out, but I definitely hope they make more because like this feels like a really awesome like passion project. Like it's crazy because like before, like after like around the time of Forces, man, like no one was taking Sonic seriously. It felt like Sonic was just taking so many L's, L after L after L. And it feels like, man, like first, like, he had 2 movies that people liked a lot. Then he had that game that, it's been kind of divisive, but I would say overall it's been pretty, positive. And now he has like this new cartoon series that it's really good. It feels like I said, it feels like they really
Forces was horrible. It was a piece of shit. Like honestly,
like in like 1 episode is already much more interesting with like the whole
the Forces. Yeah,
like Forces was just like it's I get what it's trying to do.
Cringy. It was cringy. It wasn't
It
even
was
like
so bad. And here it's like so fun, like seeing like for instance Rebel Rouge and Renegade Nux, and they're like like a little army or whatever. Like it's so much more fun. It just feels like the characters are just so much more interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say that's
Renegade Nux.
Yeah, Renegade Nux and Rebel Rouge. Oh, it's kind of funny too because how they've always kind of like shipped Rouge with Knuckles quite a bit.
Yeah,
you can kind of tell here, especially when they're in that universe. It kind of feels like it feels like they have a thing going on. Which is interesting.
So like, if anything happens, we must reproduce.
Oh God, I don't know if they can, but it definitely feels like there's something going on with them a little bit. Honestly,
just makes a mating call.
Oh God, remember, echidnas have like a 5-headed penis, so
4-headed penises, yeah.
Oh God, but anyway, that's the one that mostly took up my time because, like I said, I've been busy with wrapping up the year, starting some new LPs, like with you and Terrific, that sort of thing. But I know things should calm down for me a bit during this later half of December. So we'll see if I have more things to talk about, during the next couple of weeks. But I'm happy that I was able to watch Sonic Prime, like all of it. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think it's really good.
Yo, Terrific's mom is an anime.
Oh God, shut up. Shut up. Oh, speaking of which, just real quick, we were doing our LP, right? And he was talking about how he hasn't really watched some anime because he had started like a new series with his wife, but then like his mom came over and like, oh, she doesn't really like anime or whatever, so I'm not gonna be like, trying to like watch it, while she's there. And I told him like, so she doesn't like any animated stuff at all. And he said, like, not really, like maybe some Disney stuff, but like, nah. And I'm like, so what does she like? He's like, oh, like Real Housewives and a bunch of that reality TV show. And I'm like, bro, she cannot, like, she does not get to talk crap about anime if she's watching all the reality TV show stuff.
It's like literally just. Bruh,
yeah, we're not gonna get into
drama.
it.
It's both drama.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into it. But it's like one of those things where like, you can't talk crap about one thing and then be into something that's like Come on.
Yeah.
All right. But with that being said, guys, there you go. That is it for our weeks. Not too much to talk about, but like I said, maybe in the coming weeks we'll have more to discuss. But hey, at least Sonic Prime, I recommend it. It's really good. So I'm proud of
Yeah,
that one.
I liked it. I thought the first episode was pretty good.
Yeah. I hope you watch more because trust me, I think it's
I'm
like really
definitely gonna
fun.
watch after this. Actually, I'm gonna try to watch Sonic Prime.
Yeah, you should. It's like really fun, man. I really
Yeah,
recommend it. Speaking of
Sonic. Okay.
speaking of Sonic, yeah, it has like nothing to do with the next story. No, I don't know how to
Yeah.
jump to the next story, but jumping over to the news stories, we have three news stories that I think are pretty interesting. The first one, I just chose it because it caught my attention because I've played this series before. I have enjoyed it, and I don't know, it's one of those things where I'm curious to see how it does. The first news story, as the article title says, Amazon Games to publish new Tomb Raider title for multiple platforms. So this will caught my attention because I know a while ago, I think I was talking to, I don't know if it was you or if it was Terrific, but I want to say I was talking about during an LP how I was so disappointed with Square Enix that they basically sold all their US studios. Like all their
Oh yeah, it
American.
was me. It was me. It
It
was
was you,
me.
yes, it was you. Yeah, basically all they kept was just like the Japanese stuff, and they
Hmm.
sold the Americans. Well, I don't know if they're American, but they sold all like the Western studios that they because they were also in charge of
Tomb
Tomb
Raider.
Raider and Hitman and stuff like that. And they sold those studios off because they wanted to focus on like their Japanese stuff, which I'm like, that seems like a really bad call, but whatever. And so
Hmm.
now I guess the people that picked it up was Amazon somehow. I guess they bought Crystal Dynamics, so they're teaming up with them or whatever. And so yeah, it says here, Amazon will publish the next Tomb Raider game developed by Crystal Dynamics, the company announced. It will be available for multiple platforms and promises to be the biggest, most expansive Tomb Raider game to date.
Let's go.
So in the one sense, that does sound cool. Like if it's still the same company, like at least like the company like Crystal Dynamics wasn't like dissolved. The fact that it's all the same people, that is kind of cool. And
Hmm.
if Amazon has the money to throw at them, that's also pretty good. And at least it's not Amazon trying to make the game themselves, I guess, if they're just gonna publish it.
And
So it
then put
doesn't
it like on
sound
their Amazon products, like.
yeah, so at least it doesn't sound too bad. The fact that like, okay, it's them funding Crystal Dynamics, letting them do their thing. It's gonna be on multiple platforms. That's also a good thing. So I don't know. I just don't really know what to think about the story. Like on the one hand, the fact that it's Amazon's kind of weird because like they're not really like a game company. Like they've tried here and there to do some stuff and like haven't really gone anywhere with it. But on the other hand, at least it's kind of cool that like, okay, at least they're letting Crystal Dynamics do it. And they're the ones who are just kind of, I guess, giving them money to do it. And it's gonna be multiple platforms. It's not like just on Luna or whatever.
That's what I was
So
thinking too.
and then Tomb Raider, I don't know. I know like the like first maybe second game of this reboot, people liked it, and by the third one they were kind of tired of it because it felt very repetitive and like I don't know, it just like really went downhill. I guess we'll just see how this one goes. If it really is that big, maybe I don't know, maybe that's what it needs. Maybe it'll bring something fresh to the table by being like a big open world or like I just don't really know what to think. I'm just one of those things where I'm just really curious what they do, I guess. Like I want to wish the series the best because it's been a series that's been around for a while. And like I said, I did play like the first and second of the reboot games and really like them. I thought it was like fun, all the exploration and the crafting and all that stuff. But I guess we'll have to see how this goes. But hey, if you're a fan of Tomb Raider, I guess there's more games still coming out.
Laura
So
Croft.
yeah, I look forward to it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I just hope that Amazon doesn't like pull the plug because if it was Microsoft, no, not Microsoft, sorry. If it was Google, I would
They
not
would have
trust them at
bought.
all because Google never follows through on everything. But Amazon, I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Then the second one I want to talk about, the second
Oh,
story.
let's go.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
another thing I've been pretty excited for because I've been kind of wondering, like, what am I looking forward to in
I'm such a
2023?
Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to not just the game, which it's not really a news story. I was thinking of sharing it, but they did give a little more info that you can expect it for I think it was like fall of 2023. So it's still quite a ways off, but at least we kind of have more
Yeah.
of like a window now. But yeah, the other thing that not only am I looking forward to like the next game,
What
but
the
as
next?
the title of this article says, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer reveals army of spider people.
It was such a good trailer.
Yeah, and then right under it, it says the CGI animated movie is scheduled for release on June 2nd, 2023.
Let's go.
I've been excited for this for a while. I gotta
I
say
love
that,
the
man, that
first one.
first movie, yeah,
That
it's
first
just
one's
so
super good.
good. It's so good, man. The way it handles
We
like all these different Spider-Man, the way it introduces Miles to the big screen for the first time. It's just so good. The animation's so good. The music's so good. Like everything's just so awesome. I've been excited for like the second one since I heard there's gonna be a second one.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, they kind of pushed it back, which sucks. 'Cause if not, we would have had we would have had it by now, right? If it wasn't for the pandemic, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah. What was crazy is we've actually after I presented my video, I went to a different classroom and they put this movie. We were talking about this whole movie, and literally the whole time it was just us talking about how great of a movie it was.
That's funny.
And literally the fact that like my teacher was laughing at the jokes. We were talking about the fact that it's so cool, the symbolism, like the part where Miles he like jumps off the building and like the glass shatters for like a second, but then he's like calm. Like it was cool because it really does show like the fact that he really did let go of that fear he was holding back. And like he was taking that leap of faith. So we were talking about how great, like, yeah, that symbolism the movie is. Like I'm telling you, it's such a great movie. Like
Yeah, man, it's
I
crazy
love
too.
revisiting
And
it.
it's so crazy. It's made by Sony, which Sony doesn't have like a great track record.
Hmm.
And then they made this, and it's like, damn, Sony, like you like knocked it out of the park.
I can tell this is gonna be good too, based off the trailer. It
It
looked,
looks really
yeah,
good. I hope, because sometimes trailers can,
be misleading. Yeah.
yeah, but when I see it, it looks pretty good, honestly. And that's kind of what I
Hmm.
want to talk about. I was gonna say in this article that I'm linking here, not only does it obviously have, the embedded trailer so you can watch it for yourself, but I kind of just want to point out some things from it that, yeah, it looks really good. Kind of the way it's framed is that they don't even really tell you anything about the plot. All we know is that Miles is talking to his mom, and she's kind of telling him, to keep his chin up, keep being brave or whatever. Kind of some, like it's generic, but it's still nice because it's still like kind of motivational. And as she's talking to him, we see Spider-Man 2099, which he was introduced at the end of the last one, but here he looks like he's
Hmm.
more menacing. He almost looks like he's like the antagonist almost. Like he's like after, trying to attack Miles, which is crazy. Then it shows Spider-Woman, which yeah, she's been in the comics for quite a while. Her name's Jessica Drew, and just like in the comics, is like she might be pregnant during the adventure. I don't know, it's kind of funny. Then it says if you look, you can catch Spider-Man from the PlayStation game. They're gonna show Spider-Man India. That's an interesting character. He has like a really interesting design. There's gonna be Spider-Punk, which I really love Spider-Punk. I think his design's really cool, where he has like the Spider-Man costume, but then he also has like a leather
Yeah,
denim.
they showed him in the PS4 game. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that costume. He has like the denim jacket, and then he has like the little spikes on his head, like it feels like a little
Hmm.
mohawk. And he's being voiced by the guy from Nope,
Hmm.
and what is it? Also from Get Out or whatever.
Yeah, and Black Panther, he came
Yeah,
out
he
as
came out
like
Black
the
Panther. Yeah,
tallest friend. Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Hmm.
Actually, he's really cool. The fact that he's coming out, Spider Punk is really fun. And then they show that Peter B. Parker, he has like a daughter this time.
That's pretty cool.
He has the baby with him, Mayday Parker. So that's pretty fun. So yeah, that's why it says in the title reveals army of spider people. Because I kind of got on a little bit of tangent just describing different people you can see. But the point is, the way it's framed is that it shows Miles talking to his mom. She's telling him, about keeping his head up, this sort of thing, fight for what he believes in, and how she knows that he's like trying to be an adult. She has to let him go to make her proud, that sort of thing. As she's telling him that, it also shows that Spider-Gwen, which we did see at the end of the first movie, she says, "Hey, Miles," and like he goes through a portal with her, and basically it's she takes him to where there's like a whole society of spider people just hanging out. And this is where we see a lot of people I talked about, like, Jessica Drew and Spider Punk and like the PlayStation Spider Man and like all sorts of different iterations of Spider Man. And basically, that's where, for whatever reason, Spider Man 2099 sees Miles and he starts like chasing after him and trying to attack him. And we don't really know what the deal is yet. And that's kind of all they really give us, which is kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool that they haven't really spoiled any of
Hmm.
the story yet. but obviously there's going to be some sort of thing having to do with like the spider society of people, and I guess
Mm-hmm.
some sort of thing about how Spider-Man 2099 has some sort of a grudge, and we're gonna have to see what happens and how that ties into the story. I don't really think he's gonna be the antagonist. I would think it is gonna be like some sort of villain, but
I
I
think
wouldn't
it
be
has to be.
surprised.
I think it has to be that there's a major part at the beginning to middle that revolves around the fight between these spider people, and then the last part shows that there's a bigger like piece to it.
Yeah, their threat or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll almost be like a Spider-Man Civil War where it's just like all these spider people against each other. Like some people will be on Miles' side, some people will be on the other Spider-Man, 2099 side. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just the fact that they're like designing and showing all these spider people, like there's already so much in just the trailer. Like that's really fun. Because the first one, it was cool how they give us all these different spider people. So that's cool that they're gonna give us more here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, that's all they really show. They don't really show too much, but just from what they show, it just looks really good. Like the artwork looks really good again. The designs look really cool. It's nice to see the return of Peter B. Parker. Like he has like a kid now. That he made it work with
Mm-hmm.
Mary Jane Watson. That's nice. Yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. But I am excited. And man, just watch the trailer for yourself. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
in the link in the description
Yeah, you
below.
guys should, bro. Like that was very hype.
Yeah, it's really hype. So there you go. Alrighty. And then
No, I'm excited for this one.
this last news story basically came out today as we're recording this, or maybe like last night, something like that. But basically, as you guys know, not too long ago, we talked about how if you guys follow the Pokemon anime, in it, Ash finally won the main championship. He is now like the ultimate trainer of the world or whatever. He beat all the other champions as well. There was that really good moment where Pikachu went Super Saiyan and defeated the Charizard after being powered up by the power of friendship, that sort of thing. And basically, as the article states here, the title, new Pokemon anime with new dual protagonists to debut in April 2023. And a little under that, it says, announcement trailer teases final chapter in Ash and Pikachu's story in current anime. So this is a really interesting one because people had a feeling that, okay, with it being the
Including me, yeah.
yeah, with it making him the champion finally, it felt like it was kind of wrapping stuff up. It felt like it would be the end of Ash's journey. And basically it's been confirmed that in January, I believe, there's gonna be a like 11-part miniseries that has to do with like the last few episodes of Ash. I guess
Mm-hmm.
meeting his old
Yeah.
friends and like wrapping things up. And then after that, once that 11-part miniseries is done, where we see the conclusion to Ash and Pikachu's story in April, so like right after, honestly, we're gonna have the new series that, based on the art, it looks like it's gonna be based on the new region, Paldea, because
Mm-hmm.
in the picture, it has a girl with blue hair and she's dressed like in blue, a boy with black clothes and red hair. And he has like a red shirt too, I guess. And then it has the 3 starters with them.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty interesting.
Liko and Roy, apparently
Yeah,
that's their
Liko
names.
and Roy. What's interesting is that Roy looks a lot like Go.
Mm-hmm.
He even has like
Or
the
Pop.
huh?
Or what's his name? Hop from Gen 8.
Oh yeah, that's true too. But no, I don't think it really focused on Hop though. I think
His
no,
eyes look more like Hops.
yeah, you're right. He does look more like Hop. Thinking about it, you're right. Because I was thinking more of Goat, but you're right. He does look more like Hop, doesn't he? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really think about that. I don't know what the implications are there. But anyway, the boy looks a lot like Hop. He has like the little red hair, he has the red eyes, he has a hat, he has like a little jacket, he's dressed in like red. His motif is really red and black. And the
Mm-hmm.
girl whose name is Liko, her motif is definitely blue and like dark blue.
Mm-hmm.
And people have pointed out that her hair clip kind of reminds them of Ash's symbol on his original hat.
I see it, yeah.
But we don't really know anything about them yet. All we know is that some people are wondering if after we finish with the Pokemon, after we finish with the Ash and Pikachu mini series, finale, people are wondering if he might be handing the torch off. And some people, I think they're a little over their heads, honestly. But like, oh my god, what if that's like his daughter and it's like a time skip?
Oh my God.
And I don't think they would do that. I don't think we'll ever see an adult Ash. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I mean, you never know. They could surprise us, right? But I don't know. All we know is once again, it's a girl named 𝐿𝐿𝐼, a boy named Roy. They're gonna be the new protagonist. It's gonna be in Paldea. And yeah, it's kind of man, after like 25 years or whatever, Ash is finally gonna, call it
Hmm.
quits, and we're finally gonna move on to
Yeah,
protagonist.
I mean, I'm excited for the new one. I'm excited for that 11 episode short series of Ash because
Yeah,
I think they even showed that they even said that Misty and Brock have an involvement.
yeah, it shows Gary for sure. Gary's the one who even tells him, like, how's it going with being that Pokemon master or whatever.
So it shows the implication there has to be something where Ash and Misty and Brock are just kind of like, hey, what's up? And
Yeah, because
then
like I said, it
from
could,
there, it's just
you
like
know,
them going around the region and that's
yeah, I was
it.
like, because you know how this last series season, whatever, was a lot of him running into like his friends all over the world, and
Mhm.
whatever. It could be just more of that, where it's just him wrapping up his adventures, saying like bye to each person one last time since they're not going to come out anymore.
Yeah.
Not that in universe he's never going to see them again, but just that we're not going to see them again.
They're
So it
probably
could,
they're probably just gonna give the implication of, hey, Ash, it was cool that we saw you like win the tournament, and then like, hey, do you want to like battle or something? And then it's just like that.
yeah, that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to see new protagonists finally. It's one of those things I had
Hmm.
said where I'm like, I'm surprised they lasted with Ash so long. I feel like they could have done this at any point,
They
honestly.
could have, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited to
Ever,
see
ever
new
oh,
protagonists as well. I think that's kind of fun.
Ever since Gen 8 was announced, like the anime, I had a gut feeling that was gonna be the final season for Ash.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like it
Hmm.
because with the
Especially because the
whole
name was literally just called Pocket Monsters too, like the original. So,
exactly, and the
so I'm
fact that
like,
like the description's like, oh, him and his friend go, or like on a
traveled
globe trip.
across the whole globe. It's
Yeah,
like,
when they do a sort of thing where he's traveling everywhere, it's like, yeah, why isn't he just sticking to one region? It
hmm
sounded very definitive. Yeah.
hmm
But like I said, I'm excited. I'm excited not only to see the end of Ash's story, finally, but I'm also excited to see no protagonist, honestly. I've always kind of been wanting
finally,
that.
yeah.
I've always been wanting that. Like, I think the way it should have been, I think it honestly should have been new protagonist every like season for every region, which they never did. But hey, I mean they're finally doing it, so
I feel
whatever.
like they should have stuck to the original plan where they wanted it to be after Gen 8 too, where they just wanted to end it there. But like, a like they stuck to just doing every generation until 8.
Exactly. But I'm excited, and I know a lot of people online were kind of butthurt, which is so dumb. People have always been saying they want Ash's journey to come to a close, and now that it is, there's people who are like, "Oh my
They're
god, I
crying
can't."
about it.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's like, guys, come on, man. Just like
Hmm.
everything has to have an end. Just like be happy that at least Ash had a good send off.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, I'm not butthurt. I'm not crying. I'm excited. I want to see how the story ends, and I want to see the new protagonist. I want to see where they go with it. I'm
We grew
excited.
up with him.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy to see him have a good ending. I'd rather for someone to have a good ending than just
Oh yeah, he
continue
lost
forever.
again.
Yeah, that's sort of dumb stuff. He gets to leave on a high note. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty good.
Hmm.
Alrighty. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. One last time. The bad thing is it just stay in Japan, so it'll maybe take a little bit longer to get it in America. But at least in Japan, starting January 13, that's when we're gonna get the 11 episode miniseries. And
Pocket
then
Monster, Amy the
April,
Monster.
yeah, and then April, so like a few months later, we're gonna get the new series with the new protagonist. So there you go.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, with that out of the way, that is our weeks. That is our news stories. So that means that it only leaves one more segment of the podcast. And that means that, of course, we're going to now transition over to our topic of the week. And as you guys have seen for the last couple of weeks, because it's December, we've been trying to talk about stuff that's kind of like Christmas related. That's why the first week we talked about the 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐿 Christmas special.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And then last week, even though it's not exactly Christmas-ish, but it kind of fits the mood, we talked about Millennium Actress. And this week, we're actually going to talk about another Satoshi Kon film, which we mentioned last week. And we are going to talk this week about Tokyo Godfathers.
Yeah,
So,
I watched it too.
Yeah, yeah, we've both seen it, so luckily we can both talk about it because it helps when both people have
Hmm.
seen it, so it's not just one person. Basically, Tokyo Godfathers, I guess the place to start is that was this his last thing he made? Let me check. What was the last thing he made?
It was to
No,
Paprika, yeah.
Paprika was the last thing he made. Okay. So he made this 7 years before he died. It was his second to last project. All right. What's interesting about Tokyo Godfathers is that out of the four like big movies he made and the anime series, this is the one that's like the least weird. Like the other ones really mess a lot with like, you
Psychology, psycho.
yeah, like
Yeah.
crazy like psychological stuff and like dreams and blurring the line between fantasy and reality and that sort of thing. Even though this one is going to have like fantasy elements, which we'll kind of describe in a moment, it's still the one that's like the most grounded. Like
Hmm.
it feels like it's an actual world, with actual stuff happening.
Yeah.
And so to kind of get into what it's about, so basically what the movie is centered on, and I have the wiki just so I can say their names right. So it focuses on three homeless people. So one is a middle-aged alcoholic man named Gin, or is it Jin? No, I think it's Gin. I think
It's again,
it's
yeah.
Gin. So he's this alcoholic man named Gin, a transgender woman named Hana, and a runaway teenager named Miyuki. And
Hmm.
it takes place literally on Christmas Eve. That's why it's a perfect Christmas movie. So basically, it starts that these three homeless people, they're watching some kids perform the nativity scene, like at a church. And the reason they're there is because, Gin's falling asleep. He doesn't care. Miyuki, I don't remember if she's even watching. I think she's like on the roof spitting
No,
at people,
she's
right?
somewhere else,
Yeah, she's
yeah.
like spitting at people. The only one that's really paying attention is Hana because Hana is very, I don't know, like Hana's like very like spiritual and wants to believe like in the best in people. Is really into like the
She's
holiday
religious and
spirit.
stuff.
Yeah, which is interesting because as a transgender person, you would think maybe I don't know, just trying to
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, but yeah, Hana really is into like she's like religious. Hana's more into like the best in people and like I don't know how to describe it, but so Hana's paying attention. Gin doesn't care. Jin doesn't care. He's asleep, and Miyuki's not even there. But the reason they're there is that once, obviously the nativity scene is over and like the little play and sermon or whatever, they're giving food to the homeless. And obviously, as they're giving food to the homeless, Jin and Hana are getting the food. And we have a little funny scene. That's how you know that Hana is more than just like a cross-dressing man. It is like a transgender person. Because even though they call Hana like oh, you're like a gay guy, you're cross-dressing. Hana does mention a lot about like feeling like they were born in the wrong body and wanting to be a mother and like that sort of thing. So that's where you kind of get the
Hmm.
like, okay, they're like a transgender person. They are someone who really, wishes they could transition, that sort of thing. Anyway, that
Hmm.
aside though, they get the food, they meet up with Miyuki, they share the food, and as they're just hanging out, it's Christmas Eve, they find in the trash a baby, an abandoned baby. And they find the baby, and the baby has like some I think it has like a bit of
It has a
like
key.
it has a key, which is going to be important, and it has like some pictures, I believe, and it has like some other stuff I think to like take care of the baby for like a bit, like a few diapers and stuff. And then
Hmm.
basically it says, there's a little note that says like take care of my baby or something. And at first, Hana says, "Oh, it's like a Christmas miracle. I've always wanted to be a mother. Let's keep the baby." And so they take the baby back to like the homeless, where they sleep. And the other two convince Hana, like, we're only keeping the baby for tonight. We need to find its parents. And Hana's mad and saying no, if they abandon the baby, they're bad parents, blah, blah. But they kind of agree that, okay, sure, we'll keep the baby for tonight. In the middle of the night, though, they notice that Hana's gone because Hana ran away with the baby, and they find Hana, trying to like run away with the baby because like, no, it's my baby. I always want to be a mother. I'll take care of it better. Blah blah.
Yeah.
But once again, they convince Hana we got to find the parents. And by this point, Hana has named the baby 𝐤𝐤𝐞, which
Hmm.
means pure child. And Hana is like fine, we'll find the baby's parents, but when I do, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind and ask him why they like abandoned this child. And so basically, where the adventure goes from here is that it's three homeless people on this journey to find this baby's parents. It's like a whole
Hmm.
mystery, it's like a whole adventure. and kind of see why they abandoned their child. And it's a really good story though, because first of all, it's really cool how each of the homeless people has a lot going on.
They have
Like
backstories and everything. Yeah.
yeah, like everyone has a really sad backstory. Like Gin, for instance, Jin, whatever. We know he's like middle aged, he's alcoholic. He gives you one tragic backstory about losing his family because he was like he was in debt, that sort of thing, and it's really depressing. And then Hana, all we really know is that again they're like a transgender person. They mentioned they never had a mother, grew up by themselves, that sort of thing. You can tell they're always like really looking for love, really looking to wish they had a child, that sort of thing. I'm not going to spoil more of their story because we find out more about each of these people along the way. That's like the basis. And Miyuki, all we really know about her at the beginning is she's a runaway girl and she doesn't want to go home. And she's
Mhm.
afraid that like if her parents like find her, they'll send her to jail or whatever. That's all we really know. But like I
Mhm.
said, as it progresses, it's interesting because you know a bit about each of these characters. And then as the story progresses, we learn more about them. And yeah, just think their backstories are really sad. So it's just really interesting seeing their backstories. It's really sad. And the way they bond over the baby is really nice. And I don't know, it's one of those movies that really does feel Christmassy because even though there's not really like fantasy elements to it per se, on this journey to find this baby's parents, Hana says, this is like a child from God. Her name's Kyoko because she's like a pure child. And it almost feels like Hana's right because along the way, like the sort of things that you would like in any other, like if it wasn't for like a Christmas, you might say like, oh, that's bullshit. It's like a coincidence, or it's like almost like a miracle or whatever. Here it makes sense because it's Christmas, because like a lot of stuff happens where a lot of like threads just kind of come together, and a lot of like coincidences happen like to push the story forward. But like nothing ever feels out of place, right? Because it's Christmas and we kind of like it feels like
Mhm.
it's a Christmas miracle,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. They always say that.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to describe without really going into it and like kind of, like spoiling like the plot. But all you got to know is that it's just this really, really well done story with excellent voice acting, whether you watch the dub or the sub. It has really good voice acting, really good art. Like it like feels like so real. The characters are really good. Their backstories are good. Seeing their relationship with one another and kind of how they bond over the course of the journey is really good. Like I said, the whole thing with the baby's pretty sad too when you kind of see what happens there. The story is just really interesting. Like I said, in any other story, you might go like, "Oh, that's bullshit," or like, "What a coincidence." But here, because it's a Christmas movie, and movies always have a little bit of that magic, it just works. It pushes it forward in a really satisfying way. Everything that happens, and I don't know. By the end, it feels like everyone, not to spoil it, but they all have their lives changed, and it kind of leaves them on a positive note, right?
Mhm. Ends on a pretty good note. Yeah.
For like everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, it's kind of hard to like talk about it without really spoiling it, but I just really liked it. I think it's one of those movies that like it definitely feels like a good Christmas movie. It's entertaining, it's emotional, it's really well thought out, it's a good story. Um, I don't know. Like, I would just recommend it. I would just say it's like a really, really good movie, and I think you would enjoy it. And it's one of those movies. It's for people of all ages. It's definitely like a family movie. And unlike some of his other movies by Satoshi Kon, where they might be a little confusing and they really mess with like psychological stuff, this one's just really straightforward. So
Hmm.
I think
I
like I
definitely
said,
recommend it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like just anybody can watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I think it's good. Anything you
Homeless
want to add
together.
since you were a bit quiet? Anything you wanted to add that you liked about it, or that you would recommend from it, or
I watched it in the English dub. Honestly, the English dub was pretty good.
all right? So yeah, there you go. I also watched the English
It's because the
dub.
thing is, there's nothing much for me to really say. That's the thing. That's the reason why. Like you pretty much like summarized all the stuff I liked about it.
And like I
Um,
said, if not, you would kind of be like spoiling it, right?
yeah, and then there's nothing really for me to say. Like, yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I recommend it. Homeless together, I guess, instead of home alone.
Oh no, let's
Yeah,
together. You're
yeah.
stupid. But there you go, guys. That is our topic for this week. That is our movie that we recommend. And like I said, man, that's 2 out of the 4 Satoshi Kon films down, which I'm really happy to talk about his stuff. He's a really good director slash writer
Producer.
slash whatever. Yeah, he's just really
Yeah.
talented. So being able to talk about one of his movies is really cool. And I just, like I said, I think anyone who watches it, I think you guys will enjoy it. I think it's just like a really good Christmas movie. It has like that Christmas magic where by the end, it's nice to see where everyone's ended up and how their
Yeah.
stories have, changed for the better. So, there you go. Not much to say, but it's just, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, and with that out of the way, that is the end of our podcast. I don't know, even though we didn't maybe have too much stuff to talk about, as other times we're like, oh, we did like a whole bunch in the week. I like the stuff we talked about. I definitely recommend Sonic Prime. I definitely recommend Tokyo Godfathers. And I'm excited for that stuff that's coming up next year. Like I said, like Spider-Man and Tomb Raider and the new Pokemon. So
I'm
I'm
definitely
excited.
excited. I'm excited for that stuff, especially, dude. That's the thing. I'm such a huge Spider-Man fan that I can't wait for that new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm excited for all that stuff we talked about, man. I
Hmm.
cannot look. I'm
The
looking
trailer
forward to
was
all that
super
stuff.
good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there you have it, guys. As you can see, we're excited for the stuff. Hopefully, you are too. Hopefully, you check out all the
And
stuff we talked
recommend the
about.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, all the stuff we recommend. Hopefully, some of you check it out. And with that being said, that brings us to the end of our podcast. We will try to be back next week if possible. We'll see how it
Yeah.
goes for episode 8. Until then, though, this has been Wee Rabbit,
The Legend of Jonathan.
and we will see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.